Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Monday, June 9th. It's Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. New day, fresh start. Welcome to Pitbull Traders Morning Game Plan. I'm your host, Manny. The purpose of this show is simple: live futures trading, real-time technical analysis, and actionable trade setups. All with the focus on building real trading skills and the mindset designed to drive consistent profitability. Every morning we come in with the same goal: to build out the structure before the open so that we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces. Not guessing, not chasing. All right, team, let's map it out. Let's jump into the charts. We're going to start off as we do always with our higher time frame. Good morning, Delphine. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Philly D. Quick sound check, making sure that everyone can hear me. Good. Thank you, Delphine. Appreciate it. All right, team. Good. Thanks, Philly D. Let's jump right on in. All right, we're going to start off on the 4-hour time frame, which is the chart on the left. And, we had the big sell-off on Friday and stopped right here, formed a triple bottom. So we have a triple bottom support coming in just at about 73.55. All right, we tagged 73.55 just above it on May 12th. We also tagged 73.54 on May 19th, and then again on June 5th. All right, so that immediately what we have to consider is that if price comes down into that level again, with each subsequent test of a level, it gets weaker. Less and less buyers show up. Less and less buyers are willing to step in. And the buyers that typically show up on the last bounce are typically the weaker hands. Okay. And the reason why that's important is because any liquidation break would probably take us below. Another thing to point out is we have the gap at 7,300, and it looks like the market may be headed there eventually. Okay. However, just on a higher time frame, I do want to point this out, is that I find it hard to imagine that we would just come straight down here just now and go and you say this is our low at 73.53, and that we would extend lower to fill the gap. I think we'll monitor on the upside 74.75 to 74.80, which was Monday's high. And that forms a band. That's the top of a band with 7,500, which was the low on May 27th. All right. So if we start to auction above yesterday's high, those are going to be the references that we're going to focus in on. 74. If we get above 74.75, we need to immediately turn our attention to the resistance point at 7,500 to 75.25, which would be the low on June 3rd. June 4th low. Okay, so our higher time frame references are 73.50 to 73.55, which would encompass this range, this triple bottom support. On the top side, we're going to focus in on 74.75 to 74.80, which was Monday's high. And if we get above 74.75 to 74.80, we'll need to zero in on 7,500 and see if that acts as resistance. Those are our higher time frame references. Let's jump into the 15-minute chart, and we're going to do as we do every morning, team. We're going to map out our most bullish argument. We're going to map out the most bearish argument. Following that, we'll discuss the bullish trap trade, and then we'll discuss the bearish trap trade. All right, so let's dig on in. Quick sip here. Hang on. Thank you. All right. So we're going to do as we do every morning. We're going to map out the most bullish argument on the left chart, and then we're going to map out the most bearish argument on the right chart. Following that, we'll map out the bullish trap trade and then the bearish trap trade. And so it's been there. Obviously, there was on Friday's down 2% down day that caused a huge structural shift in the charts. And whether this is a pullback that everyone was waiting for, or whether this is the beginning of a larger retracement remains to be seen. And in these types of markets is when focusing in on the lower time frame, that's where I believe day traders really have an advantage, because focusing in on the lower time frames gives us an ability to execute trades, execute our strategies, but not be tied to longer term positions. Right? So let's map. Let me just adjust the overnight high, which is now 74.59, 75. All right, team, let's build it out. For a most bullish argument, immediately we're going to zero in on yesterday's high, and keeping in mind the references that we outlined in the higher time frame. Okay, so if we open at 74.56 and price can get above yesterday's or Monday's value area high, which was 74.63, as well as the current overnight high at 74.59, we're going to be looking for pullbacks. We're going to be looking for structural shifts in that area to signal a move towards yesterday's high at 74.76.75. Again, we can reassess once we get up there, keeping in mind the higher time frame analysis that we just went through on the 4-hour chart. I believe it could get pretty dicey up here. However, if the market squeezes and the market is really bullish, we'll know it, because when the ES squeezes, it should be a very steady move, much like we saw last Thursday. Okay, so the most bullish argument takes us above value area high and the current overnight high. So it takes us above 74.60 to 74.65. At that point, we're looking for retracements with bid absorption for long entries that can take us up to yesterday's high at 74.76. Now, naturally, we're going to be taking our scales out along the way. And then we can assess the strength and the momentum of the move once we get above yesterday's high, or once we get into the zone of yesterday's high at 74.76 to assess the strength of the move, and if we are really going to squeeze higher into that band at 7,500. I want to redraw this out. What is this? Hang tight. Okay. So this last peak high was 74.56. I mean, we could pull back to here, like as we just did right here. So this choppy grinding action higher in the overnight session is going to make things a bit muddy for us on the open. But nevertheless, we're going to stick to the same plan. If we get a bullish open, an open drive that takes us higher, that gets us above value area high 74.63. If we see retracements with bid absorption meaning buyers are stepping in. We're going to enter our long trades with, of course, with risk management being the primary focus. And we're going to look for long trades that get us up to yesterday's high at 74, 76, 75. All right. Let's talk about the most bearish argument. The most bearish argument has us opening at 74.55. And immediately we'd get that a break below the recent pullback low, which came in at 74.41. Okay, so if we get an open drive lower or a liquidation break that gets us below that 74.40, 74.41, at that point we're going to monitor retracements and enter short trades for a trade back down to yesterday's value area low at 74.29, and maybe even a trade down to yesterday's settlement 74.16 for a true gap fill. All right, so that's the most bearish argument. If we get the liquidation break and price closes below 74.40 to 74.41, and we're not wicking, instead we're getting closes and acceptance within that below 74.41, and it will likely happen fast, because when the ES is selling, we all know it's a hot knife through butter. We should be able to get down to value area low fairly quickly at 74.29. Of course, having our scales out of the trade by that point, and we can assess the intention of the market as we arrive at value area low and see if it's going to actually hit the settlement at 74.16. Okay, so that maps out the most bullish argument. It also maps out the most bearish argument. Let's talk about the bullish trap trade. Let me know if you have any questions about that, and we will move forward. All right, so let's talk about the bullish trap trade. This structure is pretty messy. In order to get the bullish trap trade, there's two different areas it could materialize from. We have this band here from the current overnight high at 74.59 all the way up to 74.76, yesterday's high. Sorry about that. And we don't want, that is just a way too large of a band for us to consider holding that much risk. All right, that isn't easy. That's a quick route to failing your evaluation or blowing up your personal account or getting trapped in a position. All right, so what we want to do is we'll wait for a structural shift. So say we're opening at 74.51 and price immediately tests above the current overnight high into value area high 74.63, and we start to wick, or we see that buyers are losing momentum and price begins to retrace. Once it retraces and it reclaims back below the overnight high, meaning it re-enters the overnight range, at that point we're going to start thinking, okay, the bids are not being absorbed, and we're going to have to start looking for retracements that hold against that zone between the overnight high and the value area high, 74.59 to 74.63, lower highs, selling wicks, and we'll look for short entries that take us back down to 74.41. Okay, we could bounce here at the 74.55 area, but by that point we're going to know whether if we're entering close to our exit into that overnight hit area with a lower high confirmation. At that point we'll know we can be, if it does bounce at that micro time frame structure, we could we'll have enough time to slide our stops back to break even and exit the trade. All right. So that's that's the bullish trap trade. Now, let's just make sure that we cover all our bases here, because it could materialize above yesterday's high as well. Same formation where we come down. I mean, there's a couple of different ways it can materialize, right? Chart patterns are chart patterns, and it's very hard to predict them. But what we could do, perhaps we get a head and shoulders type pattern, right? We know that that's a possibility as well, where price initially drives up, buyers on the first pullback get in, but ultimately no one is there. There's no follow through. Bulls cannot gain a following. We end up putting in a marginally higher high, and subsequently we put in a lower high. At that point, we could start looking for exiting our long trades, or if not, entering a short trade with our risk marker being that lower high. Okay. Now let's talk about the bearish trap trade. The bearish trap trade can materialize much the same way. All right. But if we're selling very hard and price is moving quickly, remember, see, one of the things that would have kept, if anyone was trying to execute long trades on Friday, they probably had a long day. And there was never a structural shift on Friday to tell us, hey, okay, the selling is subsided. Buyers are stepping in and absorbing bids for a retracement or even for a squeeze move. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. However, the bearish trap trade can materialize from two areas. Below the value area low, so we have the structural low that we put in during the pre-market session. All right, and that low is coming in at 73.40. Sorry, 74.28. It may materialize below 74.41, but I don't want to consider that a bearish trap. So if price breaks below 74.28 and we start to wick and we start to spend time there where essentially sellers are coming in, but they're unable to push price lower, perhaps we get a marginally lower low, and ultimately subsequently followed by a higher low. We'll start looking for long trades above value area low 74.29. Okay, and I think it's important that we allow price to close back above that 74.29 reference so that we can make sure that we do not get trapped. Again, so it's going to be, we're going to be mindful to trade later in that balance, okay? Let's watch price action. Let's let it develop. Okay, but if it does reclaim the value area low, then we can start looking for long trades, making sure that we have most of our scales out before we hit that 74.41 reference. Now that same idea can materialize below yesterday's regular trading hours low, 74.03. Same concept, right? We look below, but ultimately reclaim it, and we re-enter yesterday's regular trading hours range. At that point, we're looking for trend line breaks. We're looking for the lower high to be eclipsed and taken over, and we're entering our long trades for a move back to the settlement, maybe even a move back up to value area low. But we'll allow price to reclaim the low, yesterday's regular trading hours low, to assess, make sure that that's price's true intention and that the trade is not going to materialize below the overnight low, which is another option. Same concept. We come down, we pull back up, maybe we get another small sell, but ultimately price just starts to hang around. We put in that inverted head and shoulders, and we reclaim the overnight. Price reclaims the overnight low, and we start to move back into the overnight range. Yeah. All right, so that covers the bullish. That covers the bullish trap trade. That covers the bearish trap trade. A couple of different ways that it may play out today. Again, we have these larger ranges, and I think it's important in my trading today that I'm going to be really patient off the open. There tends to be forcing action, and while larger institutions are kind of sorting out their book, price can get really choppy before a directional move is made. So let's just be mindful of that. Also, there's a couple of things under the hood that suggest that the directional move for the day may not materialize during the morning session. And so let's just be mindful of that. A couple of things that we want to be aware of and what we want to look out for, particularly is, in the first 5 minutes, is that print, if the candle print a wide body followed by the next print being inside of it, or are the prints doji prints? And should we just sit on our hands until price kind of sorts that out? All right, those are two ways that we can monitor for what the intention is going to be during the morning session. Okay. All right, so that covers it. This liquidation break that we saw on Friday, since we do have a couple of minutes, let's just zoom out to the higher time frame. And discuss the potential outcomes here. So on the higher time frame, so the question becomes, is this part of a larger, was this the first move down? Okay, so typically in an ABC type correction, you're going to have your first move down, and this would be A. Then you get your retracement of that move, which traps a lot of bulls, for B. That's not going to work. And then we get the subsequent down move that either retests a low or makes a lower low for C. Now, in order for that to materialize, or for us to be able to identify, okay, this is the point of a larger retracement, I think 75.25, this structural low here is going to be very important, as well as this high here at 76.05, I believe it was. $7,600. If price gets back in here and we start to show acceptance, if price comes up in here and starts to show acceptance in here, we start to build time and value, I think we have to start considering that move may not happen. However, this same pattern, if we do get above 7,500 to 7,525, and we're operating within this band here, 7,500 to 7,525, again, and we're doing something like this, I think we have to be very, very careful on long trades. And then we'll be looking for a low, a move back down below Monday's low, 74 or 75. Thus far, this is a triple bottom. And given the condition of what's happened in the overnight session, as well as what happened yesterday, the market's more neutral than it is bullish, but we are still in an hourly uptrend. And I think that's the most important thing to realize, is that even with Friday's down 2% down day, the charts are telling us that we are still in an uptrend. All right. I know a lot of people get very excited about potentially a move lower. However, but Friday, while it did pull back, it didn't do that much damage to the chart. All it did was shake out some late to the party longs and stopped exactly. It stopped at the first higher time frame support. It couldn't even fill the gap at 7,300. So let's just keep that in mind. Let's not get too bearish here. Let's follow the chart. Let's use the structure and let that guide us. Jay Morrow says 74.81 is about 50% of Friday's move. Let's just measure that out. Thank you for that. Yep. So what Jay Morrow is talking about is this move here. We're going to measure out the all-time high down to Friday's low. So that's 76.32 to 73.55. Are you measuring just regular trading hours? The all-time high, 76.32 quarter, followed by Friday's low at 73.55 half. Halfway back comes in at 74.93. Right, and that puts us in the 61.8, the 618 retracement, which is a pretty important fib number, comes in right at that 74.25. I think that people looking at 7,500, if we get a thrusty move higher, I think if you're fading this, you're going to likely get trapped. I believe that we have to gauge this. This could be a real bear trap. The 2% down move. You're going to have sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, and we're just really going to new all-time highs. So we have to be careful of that. And the hourly trend is still intact. We couldn't even fill the gap. We'll know it when we see it because ES should be selling hard like it did Friday. That's for sure. It should be fairly notable to us. All right. Any questions on that? Let me know. Post them up. We are 2 minutes before the open, so I'm just going to grab a quick bathroom break, and I'll be right back.
Ding, ding, ding. Get my opening prints updated here.
Good morning, Bo.
Morning, Manny. How are you, sir?
Too bad, not too shabby here. Hey, I'm going to send you a link for StreamYard. If you can click on that and then share your camera there as well. Just see if that works for you. Okay. If you need it, yeah, I'll send you the link right now.
Let's see here. 29,737. Whoops. There you go. StreamYard to YouTube. Account. Continue. Accept.
All right, guys, I'm going to make sure I get the daily open in here. And already we're seeing we're getting that open drive higher. We opened at 74.58 half. All right. Let's come into the chart here. Let's take a look at the order flow. I want to get a good idea for what that low looked like. Yeah, and this is something, guys. So team, heads up, right? Because we opened with our overnight inventory was long, right? Meaning that greater than 70% of the overnight inventory was above the settlement, and we are just moving higher without any attempt thus far to correct that overnight inventory. Now that kind of flies in the face of a couple of data points that I'm looking at here. So just be careful on this pullback low, on this pullback to the overnight high, but that is the setup. That is the setup. The overnight high came in at 74.59.75. It's hard to assess here, but that would be it. Yeah.
Okay, do I need to mute my mic or something? Getting a echo.
Just mute the browser tab. A heads up here, guys. So if you right click on the browser tab, you can mute it.
Got it.
Yep, and that'll kill the echo for you. And then this way, it'll allow me to have once I get your okay. There you are. Bing. Okay, got it. Gotcha.
Cool.
Here. Yeah, here. Let me just go back here. Great. Trying out a new structural setup here. So hopefully this one will work out a little bit better.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, guys, here are my sheets. Yes. Okay. 3.
All right, we got the pull back to the overnight high. Heads up, heads up. Pull back to the overnight high held. So I missed the ideal entry, but I did catch some at 63. So I'm just going to scalp. I'm just going to scalp these out because I have 63 and 68, which is giving me I'm 68. My average is 65, so it's not great. But I'm just scalping the momentum. I'm willing to take a graceful, quick out on this. It's just a scalp trade for the morning, get me going. Just watch it materialize. I don't like that we only had one contract come off at the high, but the order flow seems like it's persistent on pretty much both sides. And the setup is the setup, right? All right, here we go. We're popping. So I got 74.70 offered for 5.
Did you get filled there?
74. No, not 74. Not 70. That's my first scale. All right, got the fill.
Nice.
+5 on the most bullish outcome setup. I'm back in the saddle, baby. Let's go. After a couple of days off, moving, and I was so far away from like civilization. It's nice to be back in the saddle.
Where were you?
I fully expected to be back here yesterday, but then we just decided to extend a little bit. We went out. A friend of ours has a boat. We went out.
Nice.
Sightseeing and stuff.
Awesome.
Spent the last day at a hotel though, at like a country, so just some hotel resort thing, just to wind down after being out on the water for so long. You get those sea legs. All right, looks like I might have to take a graceful exit here on the last one. So I got +5 on the first. My stop is now -3 from entry. So I want to net something on the trade. Even if the second contract gets stopped out, I'll still net, I don't know, 3 points, 2 points. I don't want them to go below 64. There they are. I'm out. I'm flat. So I netted 2 points on the trade. Yeah, I see that. J Mark points out that NQ is weaker. Man, I really thought yesterday DC post. Man, I really thought yesterday's closing action would have led to a continued selling into today's open. Yeah, I think that the next, I think the market's going to show its hand into tomorrow and the day after. I thought Monday could have easily been, pretty trappy. So I want to just kind of sit it out and decided to take an extra day off.
Got good breath, guys. We opened plus 1150. We're trading plus 1420 now on the day.
Here we go. Price is just consolidating above the overnight high. Let's monitor here. See if we can get extension. Again, if you're in your longs, you're looking for that target way on up into yesterday's high at 74, 76, 75. And then even a breakout above. Let's be mindful of the trap trade up there. Monitor for continuation. Tighten up those stops. If you're executing up here in this area, be cautious. But thus far, we have nice bullish extension above the opening print, as well as above the overnight high and yesterday's value area high. So those areas all come in stacked at 74.58 to 74.63. And I think that, you have to interpret this as what, is what it is. It's bullish, right? Look, the order flow. Look at, we're just extending higher. Let's see if we can get up there. Come on, get up to yesterday's high, 74.76. I got shaken out of my long and that's just the way the market crumbles. I'm okay with that. I'm sure there's going to be there will be plenty opportunities here the rest of the day. Price is going to do one thing, and that's the guarantee that price will move. If it moves, I can trade it. There we go. It's breaking out. Let's go. Come on, get to yesterday's high. If you guys are long, come on, ring the bell. Let me know if you caught the long above the overnight high. Really textbook setup there. As we outlined the pre-market. Nice pullback. This thing looks squeezy. We're heading on up to yesterday's high. It looks very squeezy. And so if you're just joining us, Manny Trends with Pitbull Traders, and we're monitoring the ES. One of our pre-market ideas was a bullish open that takes us an opening drive, and that's what we're seeing materialize right now. Okay, so the way we can easily assess that is our opening print. The ES opened today at 74.58 half. Okay, today's low came in at 74.5675. All right, so that's just about 2 points below the open, and we've seen nothing but green closes since then. All right, nothing but green closes, moving higher. Now we're going up to test yesterday's high at 74.76. All right, another big tell down there, and this is the primary driver for me to enter that momentum long was the order flow down into today's regular trading hour session low is 74.54. All right, there was a big delta divergence down there. They were pounding them, and prices wouldn't go anywhere. And then finally at 74.54.50, only 7 contracts hit it, and those guys got smoked. All right, 7 people that hit market sell got left with the bag. They never saw daylight on that trade. That's tough. But it happened. Don't chase. All right, here we go. We're breaking out. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So the next trade setup. Okay, so next setup for myself, right? What I am monitoring here. Let's just talk about it. Let me just take a look at my trade plan. Yeah, I knew the continuation long. A lot of these levels were below me, but so the next setup would be, if we're really bullish, then perhaps we get a pullback to yesterday's high. Okay, let's see how this next how this next candle forms. But for me, I am going to wait until after 10 o'clock to 10:15 window, because that'll give me at least 3 more 15-minute prints for me to gauge the structure. And then I'll, if we maintain the current price action, then I'll be looking for pullbacks into 10:30, and that's in alignment with the execution clock. Yeah, look at the Russell, the NASDAQ. They're all bid. They're all bid. All right. Heads up. There is one thing that gives me pause here, and that's the tick. We opened up an extremely high tick, so just be cautious into above yesterday's high. If you're looking for long trades, wait for a pullback here. All right. I'm loading up my momentum scalp strategy here just because the order flow is so strong. See what happens. If we can get a pullback. I don't know. If we start to pull back, the Momo might be over. So you have to be careful here. Hey, Bo, do you have anything brewing right now currently?
No, I'm flat. I was trying to buy that little pullback. I had a bid in at like 60.
Gotcha.
2.5 or something, and I missed it. So,
I mean, these are the mornings, right? Where at least for me, I have to be super careful, just because price moving so quickly can lead to a bit of FOMO, and thus, at least for me, lead me to make, not to make the best decisions or execute in the best way. And yeah, it's tough because I was long earlier and I missed some of it. I missed all of this move, but I just tell myself that how will this day end? And so I'm not going to worry about it. If something will materialize, it always does. Always does.
So what I'm doing here is just updating my ATR boxes. If we're assuming the low of the day is in the overnight session, I just drag this box up. And then if we fulfill our 5-day ATR, we could go to 75.07. Right now for ES, it's 116 points. You can see that's a pretty reasonable target. There's some resistance there. They could easily squeeze them and, take out more of these stops to the upside, but probably we'll need to see some kind of news or some reaction against CPI or whatever tomorrow. The same thing here.
Big pullback. Just be careful, be cautious here.
So you see RTY has already fulfilled its ATR if you're counting the overnight. And both RTY and YM have expanded. I mean, everything's expanded after that move on Friday, but RTY and YM had been expanding their ATRs pretty significantly recently. So this is pretty good price action to be. I mean, I don't really like trading either of them because they are pretty thin, but occasionally I do. We do have some numbers at 8 a.m. Well, that's Colorado time, but so you could try if you want to fade something here, you could try a little short trade with your stop above the high. If you're doing that, what you want to really be looking for is the 75s to break. Right now on ES, I've got a level there. The pivot, no, sorry, the R1 is at 74. So if you want to try long, you can also try a first touch long of that 74. You can look for this as an ABC correction with a measured move. So this would be 91 to 80 is 11 points. So 86 down to 75 is your 11 points. So I'll go ahead and try that. Oftentimes it holds the 75s, the 50s, the 25s. You could get a bigger flush if the NQ can get back down through the opening print. So you could also wait if you'd rather wait and see if you can get a test of the opening print. But this is pretty good price action, and we have a lot of selling here in the crude market. So I would kind of anticipate this to continue to the upside here, but I'm going to see if I can get actually a little false break of that 74 level. So I've got it at 73.25. But you can see the NQ is now testing its open. So this could be sort of a silly entry for me. See that react really quickly here. Got 76.25 offered on one. Got it.
Nice.
Now I just make sure I'm not letting a quick little profitable trade go negative on me. So if it does, then I'll just make a little bit of money on to cover my costs on that. But the way NQ is breaking down there, I'm out of that trade. I needed NQ to really react strongly there in order for that to hold the way I was hoping for it to hold. So now you've got, from my system, what I try to do is just use this moving average on the 1 minute chart. It's a 13 period look back. Once we start breaking below it, if this rolls over and starts sloping downward, then I'm going to be looking for shorts. But right now, we're above the open. We've got an upsloping moving average here and an upsloping moving average here, so I'm looking for longs. But that can change really quickly depending on how that price flows.
Yeah, it was a pretty swift rejection from that higher time frame band that we outlined in the pre-market. So again, I'm just sitting on hands here, waiting for waiting for this, waiting for post 10 o'clock. I want to see how this reacts. Gauge the intention here.
Got these numbers coming out in a couple minutes. Existing home sales and wholesale inventories, which I think the inventories might be important. And oftentimes these are the kinds of setups I watch for in tandem. Here is like the NQ is just now retesting this longer moving average. This longer, the purple one here on the 15-minute chart. So it shouldn't really break back down below these levels. And if it can hold and reclaim that 700 level, then I look for a similar setup. Sometimes they'll kind of mirror each other here in terms of how you can set this thing up, right? So we want this to reclaim this little 700 area and then start running the buy stops again to the upside. Thirty seconds.
That's a pretty swift rejection from up there, man. That's a pretty swift rejection from that 74.90. The price is moving quickly here. I don't have my. I'm just waiting on. Look at this. Yeah, like if I would have tried to do anything in here, it would have been a long from yesterday's high, and that would have gotten smoked. So I'm just gonna sit on hands. Wait for another 15-minute print. It's 10 o'clock now. Okay, cool. So we got another bar printing here now. Starting to print.
Okay, pretty good numbers on the existing home sales. Wholesale inventories. I don't know. I'm not pretty much in line with forecast. So where the moving average comes in 52 3/4, we've got the weekly pivot on the ES is at 53. So I kind of like this for a first touch. buy off that 53 level if you can get it.
Yep, I grabbed some there at 7. Wow, this thing's moving really fast. I'm long 74.65, looking for 74.70 on this chart here. Let me get the ES up. I was going to use MES, but I just like the deep pull back into the time frame. So looking for 74.70, 75. Going to stay. The price is moving really quickly here. Really quickly.
Now I'll try one short in case this 74 level gets rejected again. So I'm offering 73 3/4.
All right, got the 5 on that. Got the 5 on the first team. Got the 5 at 74, 70, 50, 76.25 is the next offer. I don't like where that is structurally, but I'm just, yeah, you see it's already coming back in. So I'm going to manage this dynamically really quickly. It needs to push here. And I don't like my location on the ad. So just monitoring it here. It's moving really fast. Peeled another one off for a point. Just want to lighten up here. All right, I'm out of this one. The balance. I didn't like that structure there. Hang on a second. I'm checking something in the background here. I'm getting an echo sound. Hang on. All right. Check that. So I got 5. I got the first fill, and it's moving really quickly here. I'm just going to sideline this for a moment. Look like it's holding 76.60. Looks like it's holding. 65 was the entry. Okay, thanks. 65s again. I'm gonna try those if I can get them. Just keep flipping them out at 70. I haven't done anything yet. I'm just gonna wait for this plan out. You can see like it's very jittery in the order flow. I'm dialed into the order flow here, team. I was gonna execute those 65s. With my back up against where I'm wrong under 74.60, but it's just not a clear enough read. It's really from an order flow perspective, it's moving really fast. And we the numbers are out already, right?
Yep. Not a huge reaction. Not anything I expected to react to very well.
Yeah, you see, like I think those 60s are gonna fail now. Let's see if they get if the triple tap. Okay. Yeah, I don't like the one thing I didn't like was the ticks and the way the ticks were started off high and then started fading. Oh man, look at that poppage. Seems like there's some news or something coming out right now. Let's see if that gets sold. I think you have to widen your stops out a little bit. This is that volatility is carrying over. Yep. 10:09. I'm gonna wait for that 10:15 to 10:30 window. Doing my best to try to sit on my hands here, not do anything, not do much. Look at that. We're already back below the open. That's a big rejection up there.
Yeah, you've got NVIDIA just filled its gap. So should be able to get these 48s without much of a problem. I got short 67 3/4. I covered 2.
Nice.
And I'm just trying to get to $1,500 on this as an eval. Okay, pretty good selling pressure here.
Oh, there's things moving.
All right, filled. flat.
Nice, nice, nice.
Now I think you can really load up if you want a great opportunity here. You can load up on a retest to the open if you get it. It could easily sweep right back up through and take all these buy side stops. But if they have more to sell, oftentimes it's at the opening print. It's the easiest way, like the easiest, simplest sort of way for me to gauge like what side of the market I want to be on. Below or above the open, long or short, and then look for your other confirmations or levels. And let's see, yeah, $1,500 there. So usually if I'm in my personal account or in a performance account, what I would do is just trail the stop on that instead of getting out at the 48. I think, you know, you've got the opportunity for this thing the way NQ has swept. You know, ES should catch up to it, and we should trade back down to like, you know, into this pocket here in the overnight, maybe the 05s. Yeah, you can also take the same ATR box, and this is sort of like a bear market type of rejection where you get a push early and then it sweeps back down and goes into sell mode again. So if you think the high of the day is in right here, then on the NQ, your target could be 29,094. You know, just undercutting some of these would be no big deal as long as the buyers come in and support it. If we cut some of these and they really start hammering it again like they did on Friday, then yeah, we could be in for something over the next, as Manny and others have been calling out, we could be in for a little bigger pullback. Originally, I didn't think that the SpaceX IPO would be enough of like a sell trigger if they needed to raise cash for the SpaceX. But then my wife actually sent me that article, I think it was in the Times, about how they changed the rules and they're doing, you know, so I think you guys were talking about some of that yesterday too. But how the indices are going to need to be contributing or, you know, rebalancing based on some of that. And so I think Friday that had to have been a portion of some of that selling. And sometimes if it's coincidental, like if it's corresponding with other inflection points like the jobs number and then the fact that we had such a huge run, you know, sometimes you get that third or fourth thing that contributes to the selling or the buying for that matter. Just anytime you have these big, really explosive moves, it's sometimes that third or fourth thing that can really exaggerate it. But if you're looking at the crude 15-minute chart, look at how precise that is from the overnight high to the low, almost perfectly within like 10 cents. it's fulfilled its 5-day ATR. And crude still could go lower. I mean, I had it maybe getting back down to like an 82 or 83 test, but this is a pretty good spot. This was the previously unfilled gap right over here on May 29th, May 30th, when it shot back up and made that quick 10-point move. So now it's filled that gap. It could still undercut some of these, but it's also pretty overdone.
I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out. No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to jump in on you, but I'm gonna I sold it when we came back into the overnight range and back below the open. I didn't want to jump in on you, but I got 5 and got 10, and now I'm just gonna take the 30 on this here if I can get it.
Nice.
28, 29. But the thing is on my work is that if we were, see, I'm just trying to look through my notes here real quick because I think this might be something I might hold, because if it's 74, let me see, 40, and 74, 40 was what? Getting tight. Because this is going to get really bearish if we're, let's see.
So I'd be targeting the 05s right here.
Yeah, so it's just really bearish if we got below 74.35, and we're now below that. So, but I've got to take it off. It's getting to be it's too much and it's too fast, and this thing's gonna retrace on me like 10 or 15, and then I'll have to sit through that. I can always reload later, but I'm going to take an order flow exit on this as soon as I see the delta flip on me.
Nice.
But thus far, I have not seen that. So,
but yeah, 75-point move, and
right. All right, so I'm out plus
30 minutes.
I took the 30 points on that one, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks. Forgot to give you your Kachingo there, Bo, but I didn't want to interrupt your flow. I know you were in on something there, so
no worries.
Again, I think the momentum here is really strong, so I'm going to be momentum scalping. I'll probably do it on MES. Not sure yet. It's moving too fast on ES, so I'm flipping out to MES. Just because, yeah, you see, look at this. Now it's popping. That was a good out. That was a good exit, I think.
Yeah. Well, you have the pivot is at 14 3/4. So.
Thanks, J. Murrah. Thanks, appreciate it. I wish I would have held. I wish I would have held them all. I got the 5. I swear I got the +5 in a heartbeat. I couldn't believe it. And Bo was going through his chart, so I didn't want to. I think he was exiting his, so I didn't want to. I wanted to let him get through that. But yeah, I hit that first 5 and 10. It was so fast. I was going to move the +10 in full, to be honest, and I couldn't get there quick enough.
So on NQ, the pivot is 333.5. 333. As Pat, the late great Pat Foley used to say, 333. Chicago Blackhawks announcer. One of the all-time greats.
So now the question is, where's the next trade, right? I guess that's a logical next question. Let's map it out. Well, like we said in the pre-market, right? If we get back in the overnight range and we come back up to 74.40, that's a fade. So you have 74.30 to 74.40. Yeah, exactly. There will be something. I think so it's 10:30 now. You know, I favor fades into certain time frames, so I'm going to be using the execution clock for my next trade. That gives me about a half an hour before I want to execute anything. And obviously, I can let the algorithms. You know, I'm speaking of. Yep, it just got stopped out with that one. That wasn't nice. All right.
But so far, NVIDIA is just straight down. Apple straight down.
Yeah.
Broadcom still going down as well, 392.
Looks like that's where it's beelining to. 35-40 area.
Crude really has not been trading well either. And so there's a sort of this thing in the back of my brain as well of like, what if everyone's getting this really wrong and these jobs reports weren't really that much of an indication of economic strength, you know? And what if those jobs prints are all sort of AI related, but it still takes us a while to get the ROI on the AI stuff.
ROI on the AI.
Consumers start to get really crippled here. Because I don't know why crude seems to be wanting to price things lower. I mean, frankly, sometimes it's just positioning. Everyone's in the same side of the trade, and so it can just, you know, the manipulators can push it and squeeze it and do whatever. But what if crude is somehow showing a consumer weakness that we're not really picking up on here? I mean, I don't know. If Rev's in here, maybe he can chime in, but I just keep thinking it should be priced over $100. It seems like any of these big flushes you want to be trying to get long, but then look at how crude just rejects that. So my next level on crude is 87.30. That's the S2 level. Below that, we have 86.80 is our weekly S1. It's like something has to give here. If crude is going to keep going down, the market should like it, and we should be just buying this thing with as much as we can, right? Or vice versa. I don't know. With CPI tomorrow, I mean, who knows? If we get much more action today, we could have kind of a few different sort of sweeps, and then we settle into some range and just go sideways. That'd be my expectation. The board is still pretty strong. 1,400 advanced declines. The S&P is mostly green.
All right, got that first target on the 810 for 4 plus 5 points.
I'll be right back.
Yep, for it. And then looking for a dynamic. Let me make sure this is OCO. 39, 29, 50 would be 10. Yep. So that would be 10 points on that one. See if I can get it. Moving up. Yep. Right back up again. Yep. 810 short at 74, 39, 50 right now. I got one off for 5. So on the right hand chart right here. But this one's about to get stopped out. Yep, and there it goes. So I got 5 on the first, -2 on the second. I'm just gonna reload it again. It's the ATA. I'm using the Polaris ATA. So I want to now. I really, for my point and click, I'll wait for the oh shit. Okay. Nope. Get buy this out. Looks like it's coming right back down again. 74.34. That was a buy the cover order. Here we go. 74.29. Looking for 74.28. $24.5 maybe I can get. I don't know. It looks the order flow is moving so quickly, guys. I'm having a hard time keeping up with it. And when I execute, I'm getting filled like points and points away. Be careful on your entries. It's probably better to use buy stops today to get in. But look and see if I can get that 24. Look at how quickly this thing just popped from 26 to 30. Like that's on a regular day. That's a first scale trade. You know, you're like, this thing is moving so fast right now. It's hard to keep up. This is why I'm more focused on the order flow than anything else. I'll take the 24, even though I should hold it. Because I'm just, we got rejected. We looked above. We did the look above and fail, right? We went right to that higher time frame structure that we outlined in the pre-market. We couldn't even test 7,500, and we sold right back into the overnight range, right back into yesterday's range. And now, you know, we're moving. It's moving lower. So let's see if I can get it here for a 10-point fill. It would be nice. Live Action says Yen shrugging off housing data and CPI higher forecast appears to me Iran narrative and lower oil is a strong factor. Yeah, I think the ES the long equity. Okay, hang on a second. Critters. Yep, we're gonna put in that higher low. Go get out go sniff out the 11 o'clock high. I gotta get out of this. I'm out. I think I got +3 on the last narrow miss on the ultimate target, but this thing is trading so fast, it's not getting to like, it's not fully satisfying resistance areas. It's just going. So let's just hammer this out, right? Let's talk about it. Thing flow down here a little bit. So here's what we've done so far. On a higher time frame on the 4-hour, we mapped out this area up here. Price, we thought if price comes up, this would be the band between 74.75 and 7,500 where it could start to like, we wanted to see acceptance up there, and it actually retraced from up there from 74.91. It made it as high as 74.91 and then retraced. So is that a first look fade, or is that, and now we're excuse me, now we're carving out the low, or are we going to see some extension lower? No, internals have come off quite a bit. So we're right back into Monday's range. We just tested this settlement at 74.16 on the low, and we bounced. So we filled the gap. So is this a gap fill and or a rejection of higher prices, or is this our lower high? Well, if we start chopping around here above the settlement and in yesterday's value area, so right now, currently value area low 74.29, we're above it. If we start developing value here or spending time, then this rejection from the high with just a liquidation break, and then bulls are present and bought it. That's what we're trying to assess now. So if you're just joining us, that's where it is. I'm more inclined to watch this gap fill and trade it from the long side into the high pivot. But I mean, it's just moving. So look how fast this thing is moving. You got to be careful in here. Yeah. It's definitely, they're selling it, and this is the area there. If they're going to be absorbed, I would think that they would show up here, form a higher low above the settlement. But if we get below there, then it's lights out. I like the idea of a long in here if I can get. I know this is so, I'm already so far away from 74.25. I'm already trading 5 points above it. And when it's popping down, it's like popping in like 2 to 3 points. So just want to be careful.
You're getting some buyers coming back into NVIDIA here. So if NVIDIA can trade back,
I think we lost your mic, Bo. Are you still there? We lost Bo. Yeah, I buy stopped into the 74.30s, 74.30, 50, looking for 74.35. All right, let's see. Got him. That's this one. Oh crap! It's this account. I gotta switch these around. So I bought 74.30, 50, 5 points for my exit. I got 74.35. It's just moving so quickly. You just got to take what it gives here. If you get out with 2 or 3 points, if you have 5 or 6 points and you get out with 2 or 3, just take it and walk out. Because it's moving so quickly that it's hard to assess what the intentions are, especially with this area that we're in. Ultimate target would be up there. Yeah, right back down again. Really no lift here. Not yet anyway. But again, this is a support buy number 3 in the pre-planned setups that were not in the market blueprint. So for me, it's a valid trade, and I'm getting long from a low into a high pivot. So it kind of all works. If and I got the +5 on the first. See if we can get some extension higher. But thus far, we're chopping around, and it seems like it's being absorbed for now. But we'll see. All you can do is have your spots, pick them, place a trade, and then let the market do what it's going to do. Just frustrate the most people. Yeah, look at this. Buy right back down again. All right, I'm flat on that one. I'll retry it again at some point. There's no lift. Live Action says Israeli tensions with Iran could be the monkey wrench in the peace deal. Yep, seems like that's been the case a lot lately. Right back down again. Look at that. Yeah, this thing is there's nobody home. They're gonna come back down to the settlement again. So good exit on that. I got 5 on the first, and then I took the other one off, and I netted a little over a point on it. I'm just glad I didn't get I didn't get punched in the mouth. I'll take that. I'm back below the settlement now, losing that support. Looking for 03 on the momentum. Got the first one at 03, 7,400 on the next. Sorry guys, this thing is moving so fast on me. So I got 74, 74. I got 5 on the first, and then I added at 74. Okay, thanks for the heads up, Bo. And then I got 70. I added to it. So I exited at 74.3. That means I was in at 74.08. On losing this low right here at 74.15. So just a momentum short, just going with the order flow. And now I've got 74.10, and I'm looking for 73.90. But I mean, it's just moving so quickly, right? It's hard to get these exits out. This is where kind of a little bit where my style can be hard to execute, because it's very I'm executing very much on order flow. So they're just pounding them right now. So 74, let's see, 70, 86. $485. Coming back down in again. Short 70. If you're just joining me, I'm Manny Trends from Pitbull Traders. We're tracking the ES. We're short below the settlement. 74.10. I'm looking for 73.85. Got him. So got him. Filled on that one. Plus 25 points. Plus another 25. Feeling really great about that. Thanks, Bo. Hey, Bo, can you I just want to make sure that you get the thanks, Philly. Thanks, Jay Morok. Appreciate it. Can you use that StreamYard link? It still works. Want to make sure we get you on with the folks on socials. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Just another momentum short. So you guys saw how I was in the long, right? And I kind of just flipped hats right away because that's what the order flow told me to do. But I understand it's really hard to follow along with that. But again, I'm a trader first. I'm trying to execute. I'm trying to just get this off as quickly and best as I can, and also share the setups. Yeah, we're ripping, guys. Man, this thing is jumping. This thing is sorry, but go ahead. This thing is it just jumped like 5 or 6 points. Like I'm just watching. I'm like, this is it. Like this is, I don't know. Like yeah, I'm great. I had a couple of big trades, and I'm sidelined because as much as I want to reap some of this, I also understand that this is really dangerous. It just jumped like 6 points in a heartbeat. It's just really, really, really sticky, really dangerous. Be careful out there, right? Switch. I'm going to switch to micros. I think that just makes sense here for me, because at least that way I don't have to be perfect with my execution. I mean, it can hop on you 10 or 15 points, and you might still be right, but have to sit through a couple grand here, especially if you're trading an evaluation. You want to be careful with that. So look, I mean, we're 10 points off the low, and it's barely a 5-minute print. Oh my god, this is wild. Great price action, great price action. Yeah, it looks like it's going to subside here for a minute and bounce back up. So just let it sort of settle out. I'm going to wait for that window. All right, got that plus 5 points on that scalp trade off of 86s. I'm trading onesies now. It's moving so fast, it's hard for me to call it out. So it'll be on the screen on the left. I'm trading on the left and the right. Sorry about if you guys can't see it, but the next trade that I would be focused on here is going to be coming up in about 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm looking at 73.40 to 73.45. Sorry, 7,400 to 7,405. Yep, I definitely look at something there for an extension lower. Let's see. We'll see. I'm just so locked into this. I mean, we've got 123 point range here, right? I think this is just going to be, and this flies in the face. I thought, the key was, and I put out an X post this morning, and it said that we were going to go, if we were under 74.49, we were going to see negative Vega, and that volatility could explode below there. And so that's why I sold the 74.50s, I think, because we just came down there, like there was just no stopping it. So just things are moving fast. So and this is my first time trading on live stream. It's moving this fast, and so I'll get better with calling it out before I do it. But for now, I'm just going to be executing. Things are moving so quickly. Oh no. You better be make sure anything you do has a stop in it. Do you have a backup on your phone? I'm sure you got that all covered. Okay, good. There you go. There you go. Smart. Got it. All right, good to know. So here's the short at 73.98, 97.50 was the fill. Not letting it execute. I'm just going in onesies. Yeah, this is moving quickly. So just want to be mindful of the risk here. Wow. Yeah, it's moving fast. That's for sure. You got to be careful here. So now I added to it. I got 95. Oh, look at that. Oh, whoa. No. Dang it. It's not what I wanted. It flipped me out and put me into a long at 73.92. I'm going to close that out. If I can get it's going to turn me out. Now I wanted the 98. Okay, I'm out of it. You know what? And look, that actually, I'm at 1750 in that one. I don't think I'm touching that one again today. Yeah. Let me just, oh, it froze up on me too. Let me just okay, no, it's good. Yeah, so, oh, critters. What did it do here? It just got, it triggered that cell. Dang it, I didn't want that. Hang on. Shoot. Oh, no. All right. Yeah, I had to close that one out. So it flipped me out. I left the algorithm on and I got flipped out on a manual. It's time. I'm going to take a bathroom break here too in a moment. So you're up in the mountains, Bo? In Colorado, which mountain? Got it. Nice. That's what that's oh, that sounds like fun. Yeah. Well, I live in Florida, so it's okay. It's like open carry here, everyone. But I have we had a place in the Dominican Republic that was just out in the mountains, and it was, there was no light, no civilization for, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour. And the only light you would get is if you got moonlight. And there was a kind of like there was a sinkhole there that turned into I guess it was a sinkhole. I'm not really sure, but it was like a kind of like a lake, and it was so peaceful. We used to just walk around there and like hang out in the river, and the river would come down from the mountain at certain times. It'd be dirty. But it was just so peaceful and so relaxing. And where the water pooled, I don't think it was a sinkhole, but instead I think it was just like I don't know, it was a natural formation where the water would pool. And we used to get something like that. I don't know. I don't know the technical. I don't know exactly. I'm calling it a sinkhole, and yeah, I know. I know what you're saying. But man, we were so far away from civilization that it was. I mean, the only way to get there was. I mean, most people would get there by horseback to like where the water was, and it's probably the most peaceful place I've ever been in my life. I used to have a great time there. Yeah, I really liked it. I loved mountain climbing and just going through those. There were a bunch of trails up there, and I never really got that close to such a remote area. But the more the older I get, the more just spending time out on the water this weekend, and the less people were. It's kind of pleasurable. Less people I was around. There was a time when I was opposite of that, though. Oh, look at that. Pretty cool. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's pretty cool. Yeah. that guy's, yeah, he's pretty legendary, no? You know what? Like yeah, I often get caught without stops. Like, not like I don't get stopped out, but I'll be in a trade like without a stop, and I always hear that like, oh, you know what? Let me put the stop in. But I'm never like more than like a quarter of a second away from executing, right? Um, but yeah, it is not a good habit. Live action says it's hard. It's hard narrating live scalps. Yep, it sure is. It sure is. Things moving so fast at times. Original plans can change in an instant. Especially when you try to like get into that flow state and be one with the tape, right? Which is my goal every day. But I try to get locked in with what the price action is doing, and for that, it requires me to focus on the order flow very intently, and so I'm never really like very far away from executing it. But I mean, so hard stops sometimes get in the not get in the way, but yeah, they can get in the way. But I'm just I should be executing with my 10 point, with my 11 point. But the thing is that if I'm in and out and I'm trading in and out, that kind of constricts me to what it's set to, the amount of lots I'm set to there. So like on a day like today, I'm trading ones, and I don't want to go in with none of those larger strategies. But yeah, it has hurt me, just like I'm sure it's worked for me. But yeah, I don't think I can justify not trading without a stop. It's kind of like the rebel in me.
Right. But I know, but I go back and forth between like wanting to use a wider, like just a news stop, and then quickly manually adjusting it versus just using my own tight stops. Like, but my, kind of, so I go back and forth because I hate getting stopped out, and it always triggers me emotionally, because I hate to lose. I just freaking hate it. And that's like the hardest thing about trading is like, if you hate to lose, being a trader is actually really, it's sort of like, well, you're in the wrong profession, dude. Like, what the hell? Because it's like, but on the other hand, when I take my trades using my small stops, and I just formulate in my own brain, like what that price action should do and how it should behave, if I don't get stopped out on a 4 or 5 point stop, then that also tells me something about the price action. It's like, all right,
right. Yeah,
you probably have this figured correctly, and then you can get these big moves that. So I don't know. I'm kind of one of those people that I don't.
All right, got the target on that. So sorry.
No, that's
we just got.
It's kind of rambling.
So I was 10 on that one, and then now I have 17 in this one. So the thing is that the reason why the primary reason why I don't stops get in my way is I'm not sure if you guys see, like sometimes, so say I'm short right now 74.03, right? So sometimes, and I know I have the move, but maybe I didn't get and let's say I added to it at 73.95, right? And I'm fairly confident in the move. But if price comes back in on me and my second entry was 73.98, I'm going to want to peel that one off. So I might take the profit on the 74.03, plus I'll take the 5 points off and then hold on to 98. Now I know I have 5 points in the back of my head, and I'll trade around the position. And so that it's harder for me to do that with OCOs. It's very hard for me to do it.
Right. The question for you, are you typically adding to your winner?
Only so okay, now I won't say only because there are no absolutes in trading, but if I'm adding to a trade, it's 85, I would say 85% is to a winner. And then sometimes I get trapped, right? So sometimes, like in this case, right, say I added at a bad price, like I didn't get so my rule is like I want to add within 5 points so that my average doesn't get destroyed and I end up with a bad position. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Right.
And then that's where I developed that tactic of trading around it. Like, all right, if price is coming back in on me, I'm going to take the 5 points on the first one, and then I'll deal with the second one and maybe add back to that one around that area or whatever the price is dictating. But I'm always keeping in my mind where I'm on which lot I'm up and which lot I'm down so that I can trade around it.
Nice.
And so that it's very hard for me to give a play-by-play on something like that without, because it's not, for me, it's not linear. It's not like, hey, I'm in here and I'm out there, because I want to get into the move and I don't want to get shaken out with a hard stop. But yeah, that's the way I trade around my position. Manny, will you be starting the room before CPI release tomorrow? CPI is at 8:30. I don't know. Let me think about that live action. Let me think about that. So on this one, let me see. I got to start thinking about a target. Let's just zoom out. Yeah, you see, if we don't extend here, then, well, first off, I'm going to protect it. I want to get 93s. I'm going to lock in 10 points on it just because of the time, right? We can still spike up and put in the mid AM high being a lower high, but I think this is our mid AM high right here at 1120. So that's why, if you guys are following the execution clock, that's why I'm selling into this high, and I'm in the perfect scenario, I'm covering into 1230. So hopefully I can hold it for like a half an hour. But if the market presents me another 30-point trade, that would be like, a 30, a 25, and a 30. I'm gonna take it. I also haven't eaten anything. Haven't had enough coffee. But the market's moving. Let's see if I can just make the day here earlier. I didn't trade yesterday, so it'd be nice to like have a nice day today, which it's working out. It's nice already. It's pretty good.
Yeah, if you've already captured 50 handles, it's great.
Yeah, so that's So I'm trading. If I'm trading, 3 different. I'm trading 4 different funded accounts. So the early 30-point trade, I said I didn't trade that one again. And then I got the 25. I'm not trading that one again. And that's the way I do it. Once I get that account to somewhere, in the area, depending on the day, right? So typically, if I get $500 to $700, anything over that, like if I make $1,500 and I go down and I take a loss and it's down to like $500, I'm just going to set that account aside and move on to another one, and then always stay within that 3 to 4 account framework so that I don't burn out. Yeah, live action. I'll get back to you on that one. I will. But like it's one of the things I always am mindful of is I don't want to I want to add value to other people. I don't want to confuse them with the way I understand that some of the ways I trade can be a little bit unorthodox, a little bit more, for lack of a better term, a little bit more advanced. So but I'm just, if I'm going to do this, I just have to do it the way I do it when I'm here by myself. And so that's kind of what I'm resigned to now. So let's see if I can get 73.93. Where are the supports? I have a support down here somewhere. Let's just take a look at the plan. I want to make sure I'm out into that support. I'm getting into the 35-point range now. So, I mean, it's time to take it. Might be time to ring the register. 73. I'm below that. I'm below all my supports now. 73.
There's an S1 level at 53. If we break the low from Sunday night. And then there's a monthly S1 at 73.40.
Let's see. Where's that support? I know I was looking at it earlier in the morning.
On NQ 924 is the next level I have. That's S1 on my daily sheet.
Hang tight. Quick bathroom break, guys. Back. Look at that. 45 points. 54 quarter is Sunday night's low. Let's take a look. And I understand I'm not getting the absolute low on this, so but I think at 50 points I'll probably take it off. Let's see. Yeah, we're down there now. So on Friday, I don't know if you so I wasn't streaming, but on Friday I missed a 100-point fill. Ask the guys in the IM Pro. I missed a 100-point fill by 3 ticks. Dude, I was so livid. But I had 2 contracts that I covered, one for 83. I covered one for 87 and one for 83. I went away out into the water really happy about those 2 trades.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's getting jittery down here. 73.41. The thing is, and remember, Bo, you were part of that meeting with us when I said, "Hey, I said what I'm seeing in the book was that the narrative was changing and that there was not a lot of participation from the institutional side, And that's where I said, hey, I think we're going to start one of these weeks with a 76 handle and end it with like a 73. And that's because I've seen it before. It's not that I have some magic globe or anything like that, but to mark the event, I sold one up here at 75.48. I'm still holding it at the top. But that's not a real account. Hey, what's up, Trey? How are you? Yep, look at that. It's 60 points. You know, every time I look, I'm up 10 more points. Yeah, thanks, Jay Merle. Yep, I'm going to take it off pretty soon here. We're coming into that time frame.
Well, 73.40. So see if that's a level they try to hold. But on the NQ, again, 924 broke.
I'm just trying to stay cool with it. It's cool about it, and let the stay out of the way. Market's doing what the market's doing. It doesn't know what my position is.
This is
it would be selling if I wasn't in it.
Pretty perfect measurements here, right? See how this, boom, perfect. It looks identical.
Which account is this? Okay, this is 62. 62. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, I did not realize it. That's nice. I didn't. Let's see. Let's bring it up like this. Europe closes in 30 seconds. Yep. Yeah, it's getting jittery here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. I'm taking 70 points. Plus 68 points on that one. Plus 68. Yep.
Perfection.
Big cash register on that one.
Buy the dip. Buy the dip.
Yeah, right. Easy money. I mean, yeah, right. Philly D, easy, right? Sure.
Pile in. I'm frequently surprised at how much, how quickly you can make, a decent amount of money in this, because I mean, that was what, $3,600. And then on Friday, those 83 pointers, man, they were I don't look at my P&L like while I'm trading them, because I feel like it distracts me on both sides, losses and wins. But in the back of your mind, right? Like I just know, more or less what it is. I always have an idea in the back of my mind. New lows. We've already traded 1 million contracts today.
That's nice.
Yes.
That's nice.
So here's what I had. This is not one of my real strong points, but I do these Elliott waves every once in a while. I just try to anticipate what those waves might look like. So I had, if we're making if this is a really quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave pattern, if we're making our 5th wave right now, I had my projected low to kind of match this wave 3. So 72.21 or so. And what I wanted to show people is look at how the projected 50-day moving average comes in right around that 72.20 level. So we could just have a nice gravitational pull back down to those 50 days. On the NQ, the 50-day projected comes in around 27,000, call it 200. Right now on my sheet, 27,164. But since it's sloping up still, you know, those will keep converging. The closer we get down to them, they'll keep converging. And look, that's really no big deal. All that does is pull us back to like the 50% retracement or whatever that retracement would be. So especially if you see oil getting down into the low 80s and the market has been pulling back like this, that to me is where you really want to be looking to load up again.
Man, I had one account that I was red. I wish I would have been a little bit more patient with that one. That one ended up being a winner, and instead of I lost 800. What is it? $600 in it. That was a nice nice short there though, because it moved fairly quickly. Like there weren't that many retracements. I mean, look at this move. Sometimes it gives it up easy, and you just got to stay out of the way. And I think, all right, so let's just go. All right, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic here. So what's the next trade? All right, so guys, if we pull up, let's look at the higher time frame. If you're just joining us, I'm Manny from Pitbull Traders. I'm joined with Bo today, and we're tracking the ES right now. The market, we went during our pre-market game plan. We had a couple of different scenarios ironed out that we could play out, and two of them played out. We had the most bullish argument that traded into the bullish trap trade, and then we had momentum shorts. So just something for everyone today. If you only traded the shorts, the long side because you were bullish, you probably made your day early on. No need to go back in, stand aside. And if you were bearish and you got a little bit hurt in the morning, there was opportunity to kind of claw it back. So right now we're just going to go over the higher time frame, and what we're looking at here is a gap fill into 7,300, which seems imminent. If you guys are reading the market blueprint, which is my trade setups I put out every morning, you can find those at Manny_trends. I put in the tactical takeaways the first data point there is hourly structures have tested key levels. We're expecting the 7,300 gap to fill. So that's where we're going. That was at least my expectations coming in. We said that in order for the market to be bullish, we wanted to see it get above 74.75, breach 7,500, and show some acceptance. Instead, what did it do? It got there, and we put in a giant wick. It's been nothing but sell side ever since. A few retracements at some key areas, but other than that, sellers have been dominant. We're holding trend line. We're breaking structure to the downside. Just continue to stay on that side, stay on the short side of the market. Don't try to fight this. Don't try to buy it yet. Wait for a structural shift. And it's moving so quickly. Like you can just, you can be right and get stopped out very easily. And it, it wouldn't be, these are the days where risk management really comes into focus. You want to really dial that in, make sure that you're focused on your risk. It's not really about how much you make. And if you've done this long enough, you'll understand that it's not about how much you make. It's really about how much you don't lose. That's what keeps your head above water. That's what keeps the lights on. And if you master that side of the trade, you can turn this from from whatever it is for you today, you can turn it into a career. Yeah, we're just extending lower, team. Stay out of the way. Don't try to buy this. If you want to try to sell it, pivot to micros. If your account can't handle it, if not, watch the 73 to 55 area. I think that's the next. That was the prior Sunday night support, and in that area we should see it at least allows you a structured area to enter a trade. Again, we can't really recommend you to do anything, but that's probably where the area that would get my attention. And that area is up at 73. Sorry. Yeah, 73.56.
$73.40 test and see if it can hold.
Nine moving average above. Yep, we on the 5 minute. Yeah, you just stay on that sell side. Take the low hanging fruit. Thanks for that chart update, Trey. Appreciate it. If yeah, look at that. If you guys are not watching Trey's show on Sunday night, I mean, you're missing something. I get a lot of my insight from that show. So it could be a gigantic, look below on that. We'll see. 73.43. We traded it as low as 73.26. What was my exit on that? Who cares?
Big some buying coming in here on Nvidia, so it needs to get back up through 5.5 or 6, ideally all the way up into the 07 range. But it's making a little bit of an effort here. There's still resistance at the 05 well, really right here, 04 3/4.
Yeah, Philly D. So that Trey does on the Pitbull Traders YouTube channel. Trey comes on Sunday night at 5:30 and kind of gives us more of a swing trader's perspective on the outlook for the week. And it's really cool because it's a lot of higher time frame analysis, but more importantly, it's really holistic approach. Right, talks a lot of different markets and kind of that goes over in from his perspective their how they intersect and how he's viewing the overall trend. So check that out. Let's see if we can get up. Let's see if we can pull up and test that 73.55, 50.55 area, see what happens there. We can get dicey around there. So remember, I always prefer to trade later in balance areas. So let those long candles print. This thing could pull up all the way to 73, 75, 73.80, 73.90 and still sell off into the close. But at least it's 11 o'clock now, and that's the thing is that so with them trying to suppress volatility into the morning session and being unable to, I mean, this thing could just bleed out the rest of the day with a big follow through. Ultimately, I think we're looking at a move down to I don't know what. I think ultimately we could see a move down to to 7,000. I think this pullback is going to be larger and deeper than anybody's expecting.
Well, we can also go even a lot lower than that, and we could just be in a massive range, like what I was talking about a few months, 6 months ago, was maybe your range is from 7,000 to 6,000, right? Or something like that. But now, we've expanded it upwards, but it doesn't mean that our range couldn't be from 7,600 to 6,400, and when you get into these periods, like we seem to be in this super boom cycle or whatever, so it could just go a lot higher. But if we're in this period where the Fed just constantly has to fight both sides of the equation, then it's just easy to see a scenario where, okay, inflation starts running hot, then they have to start hiking a little, then the market comes in some, then unemployment starts looking worse and the consumer starts looking worse, then they have to cut, so then the market rallies. And you can go into this long, prolonged period of the market moving sort of generally sideways in a massive range, and it ends up being just kind of, you're almost like the swing and the day trading stuff is just, that's all people are doing anymore. I don't think that's I don't think that's like out of the question at all over the next couple years. But I also kind of in my mind know that, yeah, if we continue to have this super boom cycle, then we could still just keep, having our pullbacks, go sideways, and then expand that range higher, but this move we had from the March low was pretty extraordinary. So to be, to not expect some pullback is, there's got to be some at some point. And now the question is, does anyone really come in and buy it here, or do we have to wait? How long do we have to wait? Do we have to watch SpaceX for a while and all this kind of stuff? Or will it give us will it be like a snapback kind of rally again at some point? I don't know.
I don't think that I don't know. Look, I think that we're moving. I probably like I can only see out like a couple of weeks, like maybe a week or so, like, and before I think my read gets dull. But I don't. Something tells me that, like, like when we're talking about putting in a high, right? So that's relative. Are we? Is it a high relative to the all time high, or we're gonna put a lower high? I don't think that the all time high is in yet. I really don't.
Right.
But I think that like the second quarter, third quarter high might be in, and then we'll look at to the third, fourth quarter rally.
I was trying to show you another picture.
I don't know. I'm like the Fed. I'm staying data dependent.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, that's what I like about being a day trader. Here's the view for
Oh
my deck.
God, yeah.
So these are some of the other rocks. This one's called Turkey Tail. This is the right overs. And then this is called the extreme right wing. And then out here we have Thunder Butte. And this is the top half of Sheep's Nose. So that's what I'm going to go do the rest of the day, is go rock climbing. We're at about 8,300 here at my house.
Wow. Yeah, it's thin up there. I'm at about 25.
You say the air is
thin, 25
feet. The sky is fat. But yeah, when I go to the beach, I can really drink a lot.
Yeah, Peru's high.
Like too much, but yeah,
this thing can't even breach. It's just consolidating at lows. That little high is 73.46. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing, David. Well done, Delphine. Happy to hear it. I'm glad you nailed that one. That's nothing. That's a nice trade.
How do you like trading that DAX? Is it thick enough for you? I've never traded it. I don't know if I've ever even looked at it.
That's 293 points. That's not bad. It's not bad at all.
So something's got to give here. You see how crude is expanding this down. I think you can
Hoppage.
You can probably start loading up on crude and still being short these markets, or vice versa if you like the other side of it. There's so many people loaded up on crude that, possibly they still need to flush them down to what I was saying was 87.30, then 86.80, then 85. 40 is where the 100-day moving average comes in. And if you got down to like 82 and a half, I mean, personally, I'll be buying them like crazy at that level.
Look at this, pop to 49 and right back down again. Yeah,
But I wouldn't be shorting in here. I'm watching Nvidia. It got back up through that 05 level, and for me, that risk reward is sort of over as far as being short right here, at least today. Like I said, I'm not going to do anything more. I'm done. I should have been trading my personal account instead of that Eval. I got some company coming. I'm going to sign off, guys. I'll talk to you a little later, probably check back in, and good luck to everyone.
Yep. Yay. Thanks for joining us today, Bo. Thanks for all the insight. Appreciate it.
You betcha. Talk to you later.
Yep. Thanks, Bo. Say goodbye to Bo. I've got to get a departing sound effect. I gotta up my game on the departing sound effect. Let me see. Kind of having fun with these sound effects. No, that's all right. Knock it off. Yeah. Yeah, you see, I think that we're gonna keep moving lower here. Times it. Yeah, I want to be short into that gap fill at 73.30. I'm gonna try some micros. Nothing big. Nothing big. Keeping what I have here. Wait, is this a boredom trade? Let me not do that. Let me not do that. Let me see. How did you all do? I know Delphine did well today. Did you guys catch some shorts in here with this? I hope that you guys did. We had a little something for everyone today in that we had the most bullish argument played out right into the trap zone. Did the look above and fail. Except it extended right into that zone. Right into that 7,500 to 7,525 area we were looking at. Good, Philly D. Happy to hear it. Yeah, so this is let me just see, where's that shot. Just review. Yeah, so this is the screenshot that we had. We thought it might, this was on the left-hand side was the bullish trap trade. And we thought it might do a head and shoulders. It just spiked up and came right back down. It took no prisoners. That was just a pure sell. Failed auction up there. Came right back in. It's been nothing but selling since. So thus far, if we're framing out the narrative, right? So we had Friday, the big down day. Then I guess Monday was just a digestion day. And then today was, the early morning trap followed by continuation of the downtrend. I wonder if this is going to frame out can that be a B top? Let's see. Not maybe. I mean, maybe. We traded right to the 50% retracement. So you can frame this in as a you can make it a little A. Put this in as B. All right. So if that's A, B, let's just measure out where C should end. Before I step away for the morning session, grab some lunch, grab some breakfast or brunch. I'm going to measure this correctly. So, a perfectly measured ABC move would culminate at 72.14. It rarely works perfectly. Oh, my stomach just growled. All right, team. So that's going to call it for me for today. If you got anything out of this, live action says CL dropping with ES, breaking the norm as of late. Hey, if you got anything out of this at all, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check the link in the comments and join us in the pit. The party's going to continue there. For you all in the pit, I'm just going to grab a quick bite to eat, and then I'll come back. I'll join you in the pit. And if you're tuning in on socials, on YouTube, on X, or any of those platforms, we'll be back on tomorrow, 9 to 11, another guest speaker, and we will frame it out and trade it as best we can. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate the support. Thanks, live action. Thanks, Adrian. I hope that echo wasn't too annoying. Let's see. Yep. Thanks, Oz.